Alright, my noble Iron Harrier, and we are back to Valkyrie profile. And so now, as quickly as I can, I'm just going to bring you up to speed on everything that I did off screen in between the saves that I was jumping between in those last few episodes. That dark skill that I pointed out in the Arcane Ruins, I transmuted that because when you transmute it, you get a better skill that you normally don't get this early in the game. That skill is called Reverie, which basically makes it so that all of your warrior type characters, basically anyone who's not an archer or a mage, gets this skill, and it basically makes like a shadow double of you. And that shadow or double can be destroyed, and they can but they also do damage. It's like 20, like an extra hit for every one of your hits, and at like 20% power or whatever. And yeah, so that's really good. And then what else did we get? Some other shit I know we did. Oh, so we got this stun magic that you may have seen me pick up in the Arcane Ruins, but I didn't really cover it then. So this basically gives all magic attacks the ability to cause feint, which they normally can't do. That also includes weight reaction, which is a big deal. And then last episode, I touched upon a couple things about the new characters we got. So Shiho comes with Guard Reinforce and Might Reinforce, which are both really big deals. They have some limitations though. Guard Reinforce can only be cast once per battle. It'll last for 10 turns. Might Reinforce, as I understand it, that tooltip is a lie. It multiplies out everybody's attack by 50%, but it's that once per battle limitation isn't actually a thing. You can cast as much as you want. It just doesn't do anything until it wears off. So you have to wait 10 turns, but once 10 turns are up and it wears off, you can reapply it. The other thing is that, Badrek. So, people don't really like him because his attacks are really weak and his PWS is really weak. But his attacks are hands down the best in the entire game for knocking magic gems out of enemies and treasure and all sorts of other shit. So basically, you bring him in, especially if he's paired up with Lucian. Cat's being naughty. Okay, sorry about that. So yeah, basically you pair up Badrek with Lucian and his Shining Bolt attack and give them the Gem of Creation, which increases the chance of magic gems appearing by 50%. Magic gems are the experienced ones. And increases their number by 3 when they do show up. And you give Lucian the Gem of Activity, which increases Firestones. Those are the ones that reduce your charge turns. So basically, when you do a PWS or when a mage casts a spell or does a PWS, they accumulate charge turns. You have to wait for them to wear down, but every one of those little spherical purple jewels that we knock out of enemies cuts that down by 1. So basically, charge times are almost non-existent now. And then this sword also increases the number of magic gems. So basically, we're just going to get a shit ton of experience while both of these people are in the party. And we're going to use that to our advantage as much as possible. The other thing that I think you guys may have noticed that you probably think is a little weird is I've got Shiho here up in the front row and Badrek in the back. It's because Badrek is, generally speaking, kind of squishy. I mean, he is an archer. Normally, he wouldn't necessarily be more squishy than Shiho, but Shiho has the fucking mage tank robe that I mentioned. Because Cause like, yeah, like this is like the next best thing. And this one's actually really good too. Like when eventually there's gonna be a couple dungeons where I have more than one mage in my party just because they're better. The dungeons, you know, better, like there are things in the dungeon that can benefit from you having, you know, multiple mages. So I'd probably give them this. Because this, well, this cuts holy damage by 90%. Has ridiculous RDM and Defend Trust stats, although I don't think Defend Trust actually does anything. I think people mentioned that was a like kind of a bogus stat, or like a bugged stat or whatever. This one, stat's not nearly as good, but it adds a random extra 100 avoid, which is a big deal. That's a pretty huge dodge rate boost, and then of course the poison and elemental damage down. So yeah, there's that. We got Coins of Fortune, boosting experience. We got Bracelets of the Zoe, adding extra HP on level up. It's important to get those. That's another good thing about hard mode, is that because everybody starts at level 1, you have that much more opportunity with every single character to get them extra HP that they wouldn't normally have. Like when you recruit the character in level 15, for those first 15 levels, you didn't have the option to have them or equip them with the Bracelet of Zoe, whatever, to boost their HP. Every one of these, when you equip the Bracelet of Zoe, like just in case you guys forgot, you get an extra 300 HP, like a flat extra 300 HP whenever you level up, and it stacks with another one. Their emerald necklaces don't stack, which is a pain, but yeah, so basically by the time you get to level 99, that's something like, I don't know, that's like an extra almost 60,000 HP, which is a big deal. That's how you hit the HP cap in this game. You won't hit it without them, and it's hard to hit it even with them sometimes. But so yeah, that's what we're gonna be doing. I think these are pretty much what I'm gonna be using as far as spells and such. Okay, just got that. Now, because Badrick is so good at that, I typically make him one of my... I bring him along to a lot of stuff, especially if you're fighting like a really big enemy. His normal attacks have like a huge spread to them, which is why they really suck for normal enemies. But they're still good on normal enemies if you can juggle them, because if he catches them in the air, his attacks will juggle them like really well. And juggling is what causes gems and treasure and shit to get knocked out. But anyway, I'm sorry, I will stop yapping. I don't think we got anything particularly new or special in terms of weapons or anything like that. I did get the gem of creation between one of those. We didn't have it before, but we have it now. I think the reason I remember getting it earlier was probably because, I don't know, I found it earlier in a cave I found it earlier in a cave of oblivion. I almost did it again. In a cave of oblivion. I found it probably earlier than this point in the game. Anyway, wasted almost 9 minutes yapping at you, so I'm very sorry. And we're gonna go ahead. We're gonna go into Lost City, Japan. Now this dungeon brings back horrible childhood memories because... Okay, so I'm gonna borrow some phrasing here from the Game Facts guide that I've been occasionally glancing at in between episodes. You walk into this dungeon, and the first thing you see is this guy. Oh, so these are the fruits of the beloved land that I served all these years. Baby, oh no. What has happened to the people who loved me, honored me? What has happened? What has happened? Oh no. I'm so sad. So sad. Grr, wah! Dallas, Gene, Walter. They're my closest advisors. Where are you now? Eh. No matter what I attain, if I am alone, it is but meaningless. Ah. So yeah, if you played this as a kid, or if you've played this before blind, you probably walked in and got fucking spanked by this guy. This guy is... he's... it depends, like... Okay, so... if you had... I mean, this probably wouldn't be the case if you're doing a blind playthrough unless you got really lucky, but... I don't mean to disrespect the dead by arguing with him, but neither do I intend to apologize for something I have no memory of. That's an awfully unnecessarily verbose and humble yet backhanded yet kind of polite but rude kind of weird thing to say, way to phrase that. Do not seek to deceive me. In the name of those you slaughter, I will strike you down. Okay, so with the exception of fighting like maybe the last two hard mode bosses without the one-shot items that we use to put them in the ground immediately, this guy's hands down the hardest boss in the game up until this point, like by leaps and bounds. Part of the reason for that is that, so he pops up right at the beginning of the city, right? Like you have no, we have a save point, but you know, you have 3 turns, and after 3 turns he uses Calamity Blast, and short of guts or short of guts or auto item Union Plume, it's gonna fucking short of guts or auto item Union Plume, it's gonna wipe your party pretty much. Or like, you know, fire resistance or whatever. But anyway, that's not what I want to talk to you about. What I want to talk to you about is how awesome this is gonna be. Yeah, look at all those fucking crystals. Look at all those fucking crystals. Look at all that fucking experience. Well, bam. So yeah, Shining Bolt, Lucian's crazy attack, and all of Badrick's normal attacks are amazing on like big enemies. Because your attacks in this game are very positionally affected. So like, you know, high attacks are gonna miss short enemies, low attacks are gonna miss flying or hovering enemies.
Hurry up and die already.
Yeah. So, yeah. Well, you're toast. That and he makes funny noises. The crazy, like, undead voice thing effect on his voice is really kind of cool, actually. This is Meteor Swarm. This is the other one, other than Celestial Star, that hits 7 times. Pretty much the most powerful big magic in the game. So yeah. As a child, this guy, like, really fucked me up. I'm pretty sure I actually stopped playing the game for a period of time. I don't think it was that long, but before I came back to him. But, okay, so, are you ready for this? So now, this pain is nothing compared to that felt by the people and the mages. Oh, why is he so obsessed with these mages? I cannot die. So you get to fight him again! From full HP. Just so the game knows that you didn't get lucky the first time. Know what I mean? I'm not going to bother with Might Reinforce this time.
Valkyrie, grant me power.
Grant me power.
Strike. Round rip saber.
And yeah, actually all those gems we're knocking out of him are kind of like a moot point because get this, you don't get experience for this fight. It's considered like a story cutscene kind of fight. It doesn't count. You don't get anything for it. You don't even get any treasure.
Thus thou hast no escape from the grasp of catastrophe. Meteor swarm.
And yeah, fuck you, bitch.
Why won't this demon die?
I don't know, can you? Looks like you can. I don't think I will. That's probably ain't gonna do it. Yeah, as you've seen a couple times now, his PWS is really weak, and it's kind of a joke. I mean, look at it. He literally just pours a circle of gasoline around them and lights them on fire. Like, really? Come on. Come on now. I am not putting up with that. Yeah, I'll just go for Might Reinforce. Damn. And I've been in my original body. You never have defeated me. Bah, bah, bah. Okay, so like as a kid, you were probably really confused here, and so you might have like run back up. But like, you might have been curious, you might have gone and like jumped over there and tried to see what was going on up there. Don't. He will reappear again and you will fight him again and get no experience for it or treasure or anything. He will literally sit there and fight you forever, basically. Okay, so you actually can jump up there, but yeah, he reappears here. Impossible! None can destroy me. I will become a soul uncompensated and shall have save the lost souls of the people and return them to their glory. Meh. Ah, now I see. 'Tis your vindictive thoughts which bind you to this place, even though I tell you all is over. Your opinion? I do not wish to hear it. 'Tis not over. Pursuit of perfection has no end. Meh. Save him. We must cut off the chains of attachment which bind him here, and continue to refer to him in the second person. Or I guess that'd be third person. Question is how. So yeah, now that he has reappeared, do not run back up to him because he will make you fight him again. So yeah, just say no, kids. You can actually run out of here by accident to the world map there, and we don't want to do that. And yeah, here's a dungeon. Dude like just walked right up to me and was like, hey, what's up? You look hot. Wanna bang?
My noble Einherjar. Dark forces are at work here.
Really?
Shadow servant.
Alright, now we're gonna get a shit ton of experience and jewels and shit.
Power. Finishing strike. Round rip saber.
Round rip saber! Oh, these guys are really annoying. You may recognize them from Lizard's Palace. They're the same kind of enemy, but they're palette swapped. So these ones have a lot more HP. And they also have like a new attack, which is like similar to their one that they did do, but it hits more and it also absorbs HP from you to them, so it heals them. Which of course is a bitch. That asshole's still alive.
Help me!
Oh no.
Help me! Help me!
Yeah, but you see how fucking, like, tanky she is now? Like, that's... For a mage, like, she took almost no damage from that.
And take this.
Yeah, fuck you.
And take this.
Sorry, I'm sure the button mashing has been a thing that you guys have had to be listening to for
I'm ready for Valhalla already.
maybe a little bit longer than you would like, but it's effective. It's an effective technique, that's why I do it. I recommend that you guys do it too if you ever play this game. Okay, so I think we had some level ups happen there. I'm actually going to hold off on doing anything with them though. For right now anyway. Lucian has a lot of HP. Can probably afford to give one of these to somebody else. Or hey, you know what? Fuck it. Just give one to everybody. Fuck it. Fuck it. Yeah. Just screw it. Give everybody a shit ton of HP. I think, can't remember. Okay. Yeah, alright, so yeah, I'm actually gonna swap back to a different sword. If I have one. Did I not get one of the things? Huh. Thought I had a stronger sword laying around. Or we'll switch her over to bow. And see, all these things transmute into crystals for your characters to use, like, you know, as if they have magic. They don't really. I'm gonna set her to Sacred Javelin though, because that's just a way better spell.
To my side, my noble Einherjar.
What? This dark force. It's
Sacred Javelin is what it is. Bitch.
It shall be engraved upon your soul.
This is gonna take forever. Fuck it. I've seen this a million times.
Return from whence you came.
Valkyrie.
Oh, whoops. I did not mean to do that. End the battle.
I need a drink.
Sorry. I'm sorry if that's breaking anybody's immersion. It's just, I mean, who wouldn't do it? You would do it. I'm sure if I didn't do it, there would be people bitching at me. Dude, just fast forward. Like, you can fast forward? Fast forward. Fast forwarding, sir.
Are at work here.
Sacred Javelin!
And take this. And take this.
Released. We have no reason to remain here.
We're basically just going to continue to get a shit ton of experience. It's going to be awesome. Oh, almost ran face first into that motherfucker.
To my side, my noble Einherjar.
Yeah, this is a tall glass and nope.
It's
Only problem is,
Sacred Javelin!
and take this.
It shall be engraved upon
So while Sacred Javelin is way better than, you know, Mr. Cross and Shadow Servant and shit like that for single target, for multi-target, like for PWS purposes, it's kind of lame. But all the same, here we go again.
Detestable name and virtue, false apostle, thou art they back to the abyss.
Seraphic law.
She actually does have a nice voice, you know?
Always uphold the truths of the earth.
She's, you know, she's very soft-spoken, kind of ASMR sounding.
Sacred javelin.
Fuck it. Let's go for round 2.
Return to the abyss you came from.
Help me. No.
Okay, so maybe that is a little obnoxious. Oh, man. It's the guy that, the guy that's mastering my next album
Killing his thirsty work.
heard Ginsu talking about capitalism existing to fuck us, and he thought it was just the bee's knees. And so I was like, you like that, huh? And then I linked him the episode, because I don't know if he's had any exposure to this. So, you know, Tyson, if you're here and watching this, hey, shout out to you. You know, album's not out yet. Artwork's not even done yet, but this is on the night when what I just spoke of occurred. I'm recording this. Oh my god, my neighbor's about to go up there and just fucking commit wanton acts of inhumane savagery.
Sacred javelin.
Detestable name
Yeah.
and virtue, false
Yeah, Tyson,
apostle,
if you're
thou art they
there
back
and
to the abyss.
my Let's Plays piqued your interest by some miracle of chance, welcome. If he never
There's no
sees
place
this,
in world.
let it be known that he's a pretty cool guy. And out of all the people that's mastered my music so far, he's been the easiest to talk to
Now
about
I
it.
also fight for myself.
Everyone else has been kind of like either rushed and like kind of like they're, you know, kind of they weren't assholes about it, but there was always this feeling of like, I'm super busy and you're just one of many, and like I have like all this shit going on right now and I really can just only barely devote any attention to talking to you about any of this. And okay, here's your master, goodbye. You know. You know what I mean? And or through no fault of the following people, if they weren't like that, you know, super busy and kind of like not giving me the time of day, or, you know, kind of like talking down to me like, look, you wouldn't understand, it's a mastering thing. Like, okay, I gotta go.
Has no place in this world.
Everyone else has been, you know, great, friendly, down to earth, chill, but with a language barrier. It's not their fault, but, you know, kind of hard to communicate and talk to them about it, you know, get kind of feedback and kind of like talk about it casually and, you know, get their thoughts on not just the album as a, you know, as a, you know, is it a slamming track or not?
This dark force. It's
You know, not just that kind of stuff, but also the stuff where, yeah, fuck those wizards. But also to like, you know, hear what they, God damn it. Also to hear what they thought of it, you know, from a mixing standpoint, and like what methods they had to use as far as like, you know, Yeah, and then hopefully, I don't think this person is ever going to come watch my Let's Plays, but probably a lot of people aren't, but, you know, I can dream. There's an album I've uploaded on here. Violence Vacuity was my 4th one. And I remember that album, I was experimenting a lot with like different sounds and shit. And I hadn't really, like I knew all the sounds that I wanted to use at that point. I knew, like I had all the ingredients for like what I wanted to do music-wise. That wasn't the problem. I just wasn't 100% comfortable with how to arrange them or how I had already been arranging them. So, you know, there was definitely, because of that, you know, there's definitely an element of, like, I would say out of all of my releases, Violence Vacuity is probably my least favorite. Just because it shouldn't have been an album, you know? It was a lot of, that was, you know, if, you know, if I'd made all those tracks, like, now, I would have been like, okay, these are, you know, let's say I made all those tracks this past year, and, or like, you know, not this past year, because I didn't actually make Violence Vacuity that long ago. Yeah.
Valkyrie, grant me power. Finishing strike.
But, yeah, no, like, let's say, like, 2-3 years down the road, I made Violence Vacuity. I would have been like, these are B-sides. Like, you know, if I was a rich fucking rock star and to the point where anybody would care about my B-sides, to the point where I would even have B-sides or consider anything a B-side, they would be, yeah, not entirely. It was just like a really random collection of tracks that really didn't have any cohesive form to them, and they all sounded really different, which isn't a bad thing. There was just no cohesive flavor that was overarching between the tracks. Like it was just, I don't remember how many tracks. It was like just 8 or 9 tracks that just didn't go together, in my opinion.
Evil has no place in this world.
And sorry, I'll lean forward there for a second.
If only I had gained it earlier, I could have.
It was like I'd gotten a lot of new instruments and tools and was discovering how to make a lot of new sounds. And I kind of got overexcited with them and just put out that record like with a bunch of sounds that I hadn't really fully grasped control of yet. And it was because of that, it didn't have like that release really didn't have the kind of like polish or intent behind it that I wanted. You know what I mean? So like it like it's the hardest record for me to go back and listen to, cuz like there's like 3, maybe 4 tracks on it that I like and I can still listen to and enjoy and think, yeah, like this track has, you know, has the thing, you know, such as it was back then. Whereas like, I can't remember if that release had, I'm pretty sure it had 9 tracks, 'cause I'm pretty sure almost all my releases were 9 tracks up until a point.
Valkyrie, grant me power. Finishing strike.
Yeah, I think like 5 out of 9 tracks on that release I don't like listening to anymore because I don't think they sound good. Or they just sound kind of slipshod and slammed together. The point being is that like the artwork for that album was killer. And you guys can find it over in the RF you know, music playlist. it's the artwork that doesn't have much color to it. It's mostly just kind of like this off-white color with black lines, and then you look closer at it, and it's like this really like hellish looking form that's just like there, and it's like looks like it's just I can't describe it. You have to go look at it. But it's, I know I gave her name is Esperanza, and I know I gave her like some ideas for what I wanted to be kind of implied with the album artwork, because like, you know, when I'm talking to a visual artist and I'm like, hey, you know, can you do some album art for me? I mean, they're doing me a favor, you know. I usually pay them and don't make any money off my albums, but that's beside the point. That's not their fault. Just because I don't get paid doesn't mean they shouldn't. In no way is that against them. But, and same goes for mastering. But anyway, her, like, you know, I gave her, like, I don't even remember what I gave her. Just every time I have someone do artwork for me, I'm like, okay, so I got these ideas. This is a basic theme and concept of the album. This is kind of imagery I was, like, kind of had in my imagination when I was, you know, working on these tracks, naming them, going through the progression of the album, blah, blah, blah. But I don't ever tell them, like, I want to have, like, a this and a this and a this doing this to that other thing, and it's going to be like all this over here and all this down here, and it'll be like all coming together like this. Like, no, not like that at all. Like, I give them like a general idea of the imagery that I'm working with and the concept of the release, really. But that's it. And I don't remember what I gave her for Violence Vacuity. But whatever I gave her, whatever my, you know, whatever it was, what you see on the album art for that playlist was the result. And yeah, so ouch, motherfucker. So even though that was one of my least favorite albums that I put out, it was some of my favorite artwork. And I was like, I want to have her do artwork for a release that I'm proud of. And I was like, this time we should use some color, because I liked the black and white thing she did before. I mean, I guess it wasn't really white and it wasn't really black. It was just, there wasn't really color to it. She did that with pencil. Like, I know her through Splattercore Records, which is the European group that passes my stuff around, and she lives in Spain, I think? I mean, with a name like Esperanza, yeah, you'd be like, yeah, duh, but I guess theoretically she could live in Portugal? Maybe? I'm not sure if their names are different. I know that they don't speak Spanish in Brazil. I know they speak Portuguese in Brazil. I tease my wife about that all the time. These people from Brazil hit me up and be like, hey, like, we want to have you down here. Like, we want you to play a show. I have serious reservations that it will actually happen. But out of everybody, they seemed the most enthusiastic about it so far. And, like, there were definitely, like, 3 different people from that area that, like, all knew each other. And they, like, hit me up and they were like, yeah, no, like, blah, 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 we're gonna do this thing, it's gonna be awesome, we wanna have you. And, oh, hey, did you talk to so-and-so? Like, so, you know, it could happen. But, yeah, so this will be the first time that I've had somebody that's already worked on my album art come back and work on it again. I almost had my wife do it again, but, you know, she's in her senior year of graduate school, so couldn't really ask her to do that. And I really wanted to have it done, you know, quickly. So yeah, I'm excited about it. I'm excited about this new release. I think I have a feeling about it, like it might knock some shit loose, you know? This is very different.
Return to the abyss you came from.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see what happens. It's not like any of the other ones. I freely admit the format of the album is heavily inspired by, you know, for anybody that is watching this after it comes out and has listened to it, yes, it was heavily inspired by Meshuggah's Catch 33. I think we can all agree that it's not metal, not even anywhere near close. I don't make metal, and it's more just like the format. I was intrigued by the idea of doing one long progression, basically, or a series of tracks that could work together as one long progression. And I think that was actually different from how they did it, because I think they actually constructed separate songs and just constructed them in such a way as to where they would link together and they would have overlapping motifs and shit like that. Whereas this, I kind of did it the reverse. I made one long track with, you know, motifs and progression throughout, but also with specific marker points that I'd be like, okay, there's a change here. This is gonna be a new track. I don't know. That might be how they actually did it, but I don't actually know. I'm not sure. What is all this then? So that was actually just the prelude of the dungeon. Now we're gonna go in a fucking time machine. Because why not? He. What is it? What is it, bitch? I realized something interesting. Something interesting? God damn. If we do it right, we can send that loathsome dog beyond the reaches of time. I see. As usual, your methods are sublime. Ho ho ho. You flatter me. What? Mechanism? It's still active? Is that what you said? Yeah. It's still alive. Mechanisms don't really qualify as alive or dead, but okay. However you want to phrase it. You're even stupider than I thought, woman. Everyone in this game is so sexist. I'm sure one of these days somebody's going to come across my videos and give me shit about, like, being a, I don't know, whatever they call people that don't hate women nowadays. Like, fucking whipped feminist apologist or something, you know, pussy whipped, something or other. It's like, no, I don't know any women that talk down to me that hard. I mean, it's my personal experience, but don't need to talk down to every woman you meet. And calling a woman is like, you know, it's just like, you know, I don't know. It's like calling, like, let's say you're a manager at a store and you have an employee who's, you know, of legal drinking age, but is also, you know, you just happen to be 10 years older than them, and you say, hey, kid, get over here. Like, or no, let's flip that around. Let's say he's your boss, and he's younger than you, you know, whatever. He's got a lot of capitalism sheets or some shit. Where is the music? There's not supposed to be any music here? I can't remember. Okay. There's supposed to be music here, I'm almost certain. Maybe it kicks in when we step out here. Yeah, okay. This is another one of the songs. I really like this. I really like this track. I don't know why. It just seems very. It's very kind of like crazy and insane sounding in a kind of medieval, like, you know, savage kind of way. Just the way the melody comes at you. Signs of humans. So all of a sudden we're back in a place with people. This dungeon kind of throws you for a few loops. No mercy for those who resist. You're gonna see why though, because there's some story stuff that happens here. So there's things that show up in like normal mode that like hint like, hey, there's more than this. Like Brahms Castle shows up. Or on your way to the B ending, I should say. So like, let's say you're playing on normal mode, and so like this level shows up in normal mode too. So, but you're not fulfilling the requirements for the A ending. But the game drops a lot of subtle hints along the way that there's some other shit going on behind the scenes that, you know, maybe you mightn't want to consider. Seems that Arkham has finished his preparations for the public execution. And I love how these guys are like not even palette swaps of Mystina and Llewellyn. And that Valkyrie there in black, her name is Hrist, and she is one of Lenna's sisters. In a way. I believe, as the game's lore has it, she's the oldest. She's also really cute. I think she's cute. You know, they try and make her character art cut in kind of sinister looking, but it doesn't. It rolls right off me. We have a power, Lenneth. It can't be. Just my imagination. So yeah, you've gone back in time, basically. Yeah. Has indeed sent you into the past. Has indeed. So basically when you get out here, you want to talk to everybody. I'm not actually sure if you have to talk to everybody, because I know this person basically gives away what you need to do next. I work at the castle, and I've heard rumors that there is a hidden room somewhere. Perhaps the queen is in there as well. Hint, hint. We should go find the hidden room and find the queen in the hidden room. But I'm going to talk to everybody just so I don't need, you know, have any need to double back. Who's this chick? Oh, I've totally completely spaced on what I was going to say about that cutscene with Bedrock and the girl at the church. So the fan theory, which I'd heard before but I'd forgotten, Battle Man in the black armor, her eyes are so cruel. Her eyes are naughty looking. You wait till you see them. To me, they're naughty looking. She just has kind of a like... I mean, she does have kind of a dominatrix look, but I mean... it's just... I don't know. Like, she just has more personality than Lena. Men's bowels turn to liquid after just one look at them. I'll never forget. Never forget. Bowels, liquid. Gross. Icky. I don't want to think about that. In the street. King Street mages, if it weren't for them, gods would have not punished us so. Queen was the power behind the throne and beloved of all. Where could she be? Oh, we're at 50 minutes. Alright, so I'm actually going to cut this episode. And when I come back, we're going to finish talking to all the people, because, you know, dialogue and stuff. I'm not going to be skipping around any more shit. So yeah, I'm going to cut the episode, we'll come back, and we'll continue on with this dungeon. This is kind of a longish dungeon, just because it's split up into these segments where you, like, walk in, have to kill a boss twice in a row with no payoff, and then walk in through this like half-populated dungeon, get halfway through it, get transported back in time, be in a village, have to talk to everybody, go back in, and then like stuff. Yeah, so I'll see you guys in the next episode. See you then.